Alrighty, here we are for the final round, and we have ourselves a keeper here. We are on the draw. We have 5 mana sources and only 2 spells. They're 2 good spells, but I'll keep it, I think. I'm not I'm not super stoked on it though. I'm only really keeping it because I have so many man lands to activate if I don't draw anything else. And I am now terrified. Okay, that's not as bad. So I was afraid they were going to be the sort of Abzan collected company combo deck, which is really a bad matchup for us, but this is not so bad. I'm gonna go Blinkmoth Nexus, Springleaf Drum, Ornithopter, Bolt Scourge. Alright, sweet start. So next turn, if nothing else, we Cranial Plating and attack. Which if they're playing a ramp deck, they're probably gonna just play ramp spells instead of paths and whatnot. Even if this is a Kitchen Finks, I'm not super upset. Alright, great. Alright, so let's play Darksteel Citadel. And then play an Equip Cranial Plating. Now the question is which matters more to us? Well, actually, no, I take that back. Because I have to tap down something to equip, so I'll just do the one without power that doesn't gain us life. Alright, there we go. And bashing for 6, going up to 24. Can't help but feel like we're in a pretty good spot. So you get to play a land, but next turn we get to play an Ink Moth and bash for a shit ton. Pardon my language. I don't know why I said that, I swear all the time. Not the first time, and it sure won't be the last. Alright, so he gets to gain a life, but this feels much more like a, X standard deck than a modern deck. And he only has 1 green open, and I refuse to believe that he would be playing the deck that matters for that. Nature's Claim. I refuse to believe that he's playing a main deck Nature's Claim. I'm gonna use Inkmoth to activate itself so we can get in a bunch of extra damage here. And swing for 9. So yeah, I think Villain's pretty dead here. Unless they draw a path soon. They clearly didn't have a path in hand, or they would have used it long ago. And we know they're drawing a land next turn, so yeah. Even if they gain their 3 life or whatever this turn, that's not going to help them. They're still very, very dead. So I guess the upside for them is that we don't have enchantment removal in this particular sideboard. Though if we really cared, we could bring in Thoughtseize. I just don't think that's going to be correct. Well, potentially, because they are likely to have Stony Silence. So we are going to want to think about Stony Silence, and they're definitely playing some sort of slow, control-y style deck rather than anything else. So, of the 3 creatures we saw, only one of them dies to Whip Flare, so that's not coming in. Cage doesn't actually shut them off of anything. I feel like Etch Champions are going to be good here. I probably want a couple of those. I don't want both Thoughtseizes and Dismembers, but 1 Thoughtseize and 1 Stubborn Denial is probably enough to keep them off of at least 1 Stony Silence. Dismember, maybe. Spellskite, probably. They're going to be somewhat limited on removal, so getting rid of what little they have seems strong to me. It's definitely not for Grid or Whip Flare. So, alright, yeah, here we are. These are the cards we want to bring in. We can shave a Memnite, we can shave a Pest. I don't want to take out... Well, I could take out 1 Overseer. I don't want to take out too many, because they're clearly a creature-based deck, and they are likely to have Stony Silence, but not terrified of it. I mean, I guess maybe I should be terrified of it, but Hmm, what else to take out? I guess I could probably take out a second Overseer. I just don't want to. It's so good. See, two Masters of Ethereum, and then maybe like a Galflast or something. Since we're bringing in Dismember. Yeah, sure. We'll do that. That leaves us with a total of 5, 6, 7 colored spells, which is fine for not taking out any colored lands. And here we go. Alright, so this is a keeper. It's going to be pretty rough, though, if they play a turn 2 Stony Silence, because we have no disruption for it. And every single card in our hand, with the exception of Memnite, has an activated ability, which is a potential reason to play Ravager first instead of Overseer, because we'll be able to move our counters around. Springleaf Drum first. Memnite. Unfortunately, we can't play anything. But if he plays... Well, I was going to say if he plays Stony Silence, we're just going to be dropping 1/1s. But clearly he doesn't have it, at least not turn 2. So again, that leaves us with an interesting choice, though arguably not anymore. So my two... I was thinking of playing Cranial Plating and equipping it, though the fact that Memnite doesn't have evasion means I'm not super excited to have it be stuck on the Memnite. I'm going to get the Etch Champion down first, because then next turn, if he still hasn't played a Stony Silence, we can throw plating on that, and I feel pretty comfortable that we'll be able to win the game with that combo of cards. The question is really if he's going to play Stony Silence here. If he plays Kataki, we're in much worse shape, but considering his deck's fondness for enchantments, I would expect to see more of a Stony Silence. Yep, there it is. So yeah. I mean, getting the plating on here would have been useful. It would have made it a 4-power guy, but it still wouldn't have been able to attack through Nyx's Fleece Ram anyway. I'm just going to play Arcbound Ravagers and try to get them to kill themselves. Because once they die, I can put the counters on the champion. I just can't sacrifice things to them while they're still alive. But Villain is out of cards, which is sweet. I suppose it might be better to be attacking with Blink Moth than it is to play these Ravagers, but like I said, I have no problem with aggressively throwing these Ravagers in there. Ooh, Dismember, you say? Which member? Dismember. So it's either Dismember and play like a Springleaf Drum that does nothing, or play Ravager, which also does very little. Yeah, let's just do the Springleaf Drum Dismember plan. Get rid of their source of life gain, because that guy's just going to slow down the game pretty significantly. Whoops. Magic Online has recently changed the way that Phyrexian mana works. Make it so that it's less likely that you misclick. Yeah, I could care less whether he blocks here. He blocks? Sweet. Counter goes on my Etch Champion, which is safer anyway. And like, the Springleaf Drums don't help that much, but if we draw, or playing the extra one, I mean, but if we draw Master of Ethereum, it'll make that bigger, and it also just makes it safer for our Etch Champion to get through. Okay. Kinda wish he hadn't done that, but oh well. It costs 2 to attack, which is an unfortunate number, seeing as we have 3 mana. But we'll pay for it. Obviously, I'd rather play another Arcbound Ravager, but what can you do? If we just keep drawing mana sources, I wouldn't be that upset. I mean, this is going to be one of those uncommon times where we might actually win through a Stony Silence. because it didn't come down quite fast enough. Which, you know, it's always nice, because Stony Silence is one of the more annoying cards. Like, you can dedicate sideboard slots to enchantment removal, but it can be tough. And Stony Silence, especially because most of the removal spells are going to be colored, and a lot of your colored mana sources can't be activated through a Stony Silence. Alright, what does Villain have in store for us here? Ah, Sigil of the Empty Throne, which currently does nothing, and will continue to do more or less nothing. I mean, it makes their clock probably faster than our clock, however. Oh good, a land that doesn't actually tap for mana, even better. I wonder if it would have been more mana efficient to not attack once and then play the Arcbound Ravager. Who knows? I know I'm certainly not doing the math right now. Luckily, I mean, presumably they have a ton of enchantments in their deck, so activating Sigil is not going to be hard for them. But I can hope, I can dream. And if we draw an extra land, we can always chump once with the Blinkmoth Nexus anyway, since it's just too expensive to attack with it and Etch Champion. It looks like they didn't draw any enchantments. Unless they drew like a flash enchantment. Okay, so they want to attack, that's why they did that. Okay, that's fine. Nothing. Interesting, that means they have a flash creature. My question would be, what flash creature, and why are they so keen on using it, you know? Oh. Oh, no, they don't have a flash creature, they just know we can't afford to attack the Memnite. That's why they did that. That makes sense. Man, if we had one more turn without the Stony Silence lock, being able to get the Cranial Plating down would have just absolutely broken the game wide open. But as it sits, I think we're currently a favorite to win. Not a big favorite, but a favorite nonetheless. Don't play another. Oh, god damn it. Where X is the number of enchantments you control, eh? And now he has a 4/4 flyer. So we have to pay 5? Yeah, we'd have to pay 5, which we can't currently pay. So I'm pretty sure I'm going to have to chump block here. Put this down to 12. I mean, 4, 8, 12. Yeah, that actually buys us a turn's worth of time on this current clock that he has set up, so. Come on, give me something. Mox Opal does not count. Alright, so we play Spellskite here. Because, again, we have to pay 5 to attack. Or, no, we have to pay 2 plus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, that's a lot. I hope this is game 2. Is this game 2? Damn it. Yeah, I believe this is game 2. I remember winning game 1 pretty handily. This is an unfortunate situation to be in. Again, we don't have ways of getting rid of enchantments, so him playing enchantments is pretty brutal. Yep, he hits us for 4 in the air, from which we can't really do anything about. Inkmoth Nexus, you say, so I could play Overseer and Ravager and Mox Opal and all this shit, but that doesn't help. I mean, Ravager can block at least. That's honestly about it, I think. I mean, at some point we're going to have to start jumping these angels. Perhaps that time is now, but we'll play Ravager first, I suppose. Why not? At least we get to see more of our opponent's deck, I suppose. Oh, wow, another goddamn sphere of safety. Alright. That certainly is a card, let me tell you. Yeah, we really were just one turn away from smacking this game wide open. We're pretty much at a guaranteed loss right now, but I figure it's worth trying at least. You know, no use giving up for no reason. Yeah, well, of course I say all that and then concede, but he had us dead on board that time. Alright, so game 3. We have seen that he doesn't have removal, so these spell skites are not as good as I expected. Either that or he just didn't draw his removal. Galvblast would not be the worst thing ever. I mean, if he's going to make us pay for each of our attackers, it behooves us to have bigger attackers rather than um, more attackers, you know? Maybe we want that third edge champion. Maybe we want another Master of Ethereum. I think I'd like to have this Galvblast. And then it's a question of, do we want another threat, or would we prefer to just have another Thoughtseize to prevent him from playing these stupid cards? You know what, let's do that. Brings us up to 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's stretching us pretty hard, but we do what we gotta do. Alright, what do we got here? Our turn 1 plan is Mox Opal, Signal Pest, Blink Moth. Turn 2, Glimmer Void. Mox Opal still won't be active, so we'd have to play like Signal Pest, and then we're spinning our heels a little bit, unless we want to. We'll have 2 mana. I guess we could sack the Mox Opal to play the other Mox Opal, worst case scenario. Worst case scenario being that we don't draw anything else that works. And I do think that's what we would do because, again, if he plays Stony Silence early enough, we're really screwed. So just dumping our hand ASAP is ideal, especially because he didn't seem to have any like damnation type effects either. So Blink Moth Nexus, Mox Opal, Signal Pest. Alright, so Glimmer Void, and if I play Signal Pest, that'll turn on the Mox Opal. And then I can tap the Mox Opal, play a new Mox Opal, keep this one, a blue, tap, Master of Ethereum, and just F8 here, bash him for 1. Next turn we can activate an attack with Blink Moth Nexus, and we don't care if he plays a Stony Silence because it doesn't do anything. So yeah, we're in a sweet position. It's weird that he didn't seem to have any Path to Exiles or even just Nature's Claims or anything like that. It's unusual. But yeah, this is highly defensible against Stony Silence. Kataki isn't as bad because we'll still have the 3 mana either way, but again, I don't believe he's playing Kataki considering how heavy on enchantments he is. Sweet, so you can block Master, but that's it. Vault Scourge, you say, alright. One thing here is we don't even have to pay life for Vault Scourge, we can pay the full price and still attack with Blink Moth. Like I said, I'm not worried about overextending, because I don't think he actually has any sort of board wipe. So, I don't know how much damage this is, but it's a lot. He's taking 8. He's unlikely to survive this game. His deck's just too slow and doesn't have enough interaction with us. And we just had a hand that was not soft to Stony Silence, as I aforementioned. Alrighty, so he's got to draw something pretty good. As far as I'm aware, there's no like 2 mana Shadow Storm or 3 mana Shadow Storm, so that won't help. So if he was splashing red, he could probably Ancient Grudge 2 of our threats away and bring us down to a much slower clock, but he would still be very dead. Ghostly Prison would help, but not enough. Mixed Fleece Ram, okay, that's a card. I believe that card also doesn't help enough. Animate our Blink Moth, attack with everything, and he's just hella dead. Alrighty, so that's Affinity for you. That's your goal in life. And Villain says GG. Well, we had some unfortunate losses that I didn't find particularly fun. But, the thing about Affinity is that it's consistent in the sense that it wins a lot, but it wins a lot because it has explosive draws like what we just did. Having all this stuff down on the table by turn 3. And then the games where it loses, it just has nothing but lands, a couple 0 and 1 drops that don't do anything by themselves, and, Springleaf Drums. So, the deck's not the most consistent, but it works well enough. Even your mediocre draws can be very strong, depending on who you're playing against. But if people bring a lot of the hate to the table, you're gonna hurt. It's hard to win through the Stony Silences, and people tend to play a lot of them. But if you're going to a tournament where you think people aren't gonna be prepared for it, whew, you can really wreck some face. That's for sure. So yeah, that's Affinity. I didn't actually get to try the second Thoughtseize that I put in. I mean, I put it in the deck, but I definitely don't want to put Seagate Wreckage back in my sideboard, because that card just frustrated me and never worked. But anyway, hope you guys liked the videos, and might be doing more soon, possibly after I get a better handle on this sideboard. But I'll see you guys then.